Okay, so how to add 20,000 people to your email list monthly. Right now what you're looking at is a picture of my Infusionsoft account as of 2 days ago. And as you can see, I've gotten nearly 30,000 new emails in the last 30 days. And again, this is all organic traffic, haven't paid a penny. And this has all happened through blogging. And basically, what most of you know a blog, just articles written on the internet, distributed. The goal is to have them go viral. So I know that a lot of you obviously are entrepreneurs, business leaders. Perhaps you don't think you have enough time to write articles. But by the end of this talk, I'm going to show you how simple it can be, how easy it can be, and really, this is a very important strategy for growing your list, growing your audience, growing your trust. So yes, you do have time. Yes, you can do it. By the way, as said by Joe, there's a handout. It's actually in the copy of my book, and those galleys weren't in there yesterday. They're being put in there literally right now. So my story starts in June of 2015. This is when I wrote my very first, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. In June of 2015, I wrote my very first viral article on Medium.com, and immediately it got picked up by Huffington Post, Business Insider, New York Observer, all of those things. Within the first week, I had over 3 million views. It was the #1 article on many of those platforms. My concern was that I only had 113 emails in my Infusionsoft account, and I was wondering, what's the problem? You know, with millions and millions of views, I should have tens of thousands of emails in my list because this is huge. So what was my problem? Well, it dawned on me after almost all my traffic was gone that I needed to go into my article in Medium and edit it, and basically just tell people, if you liked this article, please go to my website and you can get my free ebook. And that's a cool part about writing on places like Medium, Quora, LinkedIn, is that you can just directly market. And so I edited the end, and immediately I jumped up to 3,500 email subscribers, but most of the traffic was gone. And my website looked pretty much like this. And so that was my strategy for the next several months, was send people to my website and have them get my free ebook. So with the same amount of traffic, just adding that little insertion in the end, I started averaging 1,500 emails a month. Same amount of traffic, just telling people directly go to my website. So that's strategy #1. That's something you can do. Then I decided, after I got a little bit more fancy and smart, to change my website, make it less distracting, and just have it look like this as soon as people land on it. Yes, you could still scroll down. Yes, you can still get distracted and look at other things. But by just simply making that one change, same amount of traffic, I went up to 3,000 emails a month, just sending people from my blogs to my website to get my free ebook. Then last summer, I read Russell Brunson's book. If any of you haven't read it, I think probably this is another signal. Read it. So I stopped sending people to my website, and I've never sent anyone to my website since.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this video, and I want to let you know that I have a new book that's come out, and if you'd like to get it absolutely free, there's a link below in the description, or you can wait till the end of this video, or you can simply go to joesfreebook.com and you can get a copy there.
And so I changed, basically at the end of my articles now, I just started sending them to this opt-in page. You can't scroll up and down. The only thing you could do is give me your email or leave, and this page had a 50% conversion rate, meaning that 50% of the people who landed on this page gave me their email. That one change, same amount of traffic, I had 5,000 emails a month. Then I decided to change it up last year around September, and instead of giving a full ebook, I decided people have just read an article of mine, they maybe don't want a full ebook. That's a little high commitment. So instead, I made a 7-page checklist, something really low friction, high value, and just by making that one change, way more people wanted it. So 60% of the people who land on that page give me their email, and that one change led me to now getting over 20,000 emails a month with the same amount of traffic that I was getting 1,000 emails a month. So small, high-value checklists, cheat sheets, things like that are a lot better than big free offers. So this is essentially what my monthly traffic looks like on Medium. I'm getting about 800,000 to 1 million clicks. And this is what my call to action looks like at the bottom of every article I write. So at the bottom of every article, it says call to action, and then where the line is underlined, that is where people can click the link. And that link takes them back to this landing page. And 61% of people who go to that landing page give me their email. And so this is really all you need. You don't need websites anymore. Well, it depends on your business, but if you're just trying to build an email list through content, all you need is content an optimized landing page, and then just start collecting the emails. I would say it's very optional. And I would actually highly suggest, if you're trying to build an email list quickly, don't send people to your website because there's too many distractions there. Build a long-term relationship with those people. So in the last 60 days, I've also learned and developed a lot of new strategies. So I went to my very first small group meeting, Genius Network, back in September. That was less than 60 days ago. And I actually gave a 10-minute talk. So first I want to give some serious kudos to Joe Weldon. I would not be on this stage if it wasn't for Joe Weldon. In order to speak at any Genius Network meeting, you have to work with Joel. And he helped me give an amazing 10-minute talk. And I talked about a lot of these strategies I was teaching, and Dre Redfern, who was in the meeting, he asked me, Ben, how are you monetizing all of these emails? And I have plenty of ways that I'm monetizing them, but he said, no, I mean automated. Like, what's the first thing people do when they get into your email list? And so he helped me. And so after just talking to Dre, and this is literally in the last 60 days, we changed my thank you page. Because essentially what happened was when people opted in, as soon as they would give me their email, they would go to a thank you page that basically just said, your checklist is on its way, go check your email. Well, we changed it, and now as soon as someone opts in, they get a video from me, and it's basically an offer to buy my $27 course. And 1% of the people who opt in bought the course. And so immediately, just doing that, and I made the course in like 2 days, immediately I started getting $200 passive income. Then I joined, because I was so blown away at what I had learned, I decided to join Joe's 100X group, or 100K group. And at my first meeting, which was last month, Joe, Dean, and Jason, who you just heard, all literally coached me through how to make that video better, and immediately jumped up 200%. And so now, just by making those couple quick tweaks, I'm making like nearly $1,000 passive income on new subscribers. And so now my list is actually becoming a buyer's list. And this is just a picture of, the analytics. So here's the plan of action for you. Obviously, I've thrown a lot at you, but I'm going to talk now about how you can start implementing these things. The first thing I want you to think about is I want you to reframe your whole idea about what content actually is. I think one of the big things that throws people off is the idea that they need to write an article like every single day or like 2 or 3 articles a week. For most people, that's unsustainable. Even for me, and this is like my full-time job, I don't even do that. So basically what you want to do is you want to build a vault of amazing content that you can then republish over and over. So this is just one example. I wrote an article, How to Overcome Addiction and Make Lasting Change in Your Life. This was last year. I republished the same article, no changes. 6 months later, got 22,000 views. And then 6 months later, I published it again, but I just changed the title, and it got 5x the views, and then I just republished it again, all on the same website, literally, republishing the same article over and over because the content's good. And so what you want to do is you want to get maybe 50 to 100 amazing articles, and I'm going to talk about what that actually looks like. And then you can just republish them every 4 to 6 months. Literally, I've probably written 15 articles this year, and I've gotten almost 300,000 emails because I have a lot of content that I'm just recycling at this point now. And so here are the best practices for viral articles. Obviously, headline is key. You need to get very good at that. Big numbers, big promise, bold. Short sentences. People consume content a lot faster now. Short sentences, short paragraphs, lots of subheadings. Numbers work best. So once people are in an article, the first thing they do is just look at the structure. And then you want to have interesting subheadings. Obviously, a really strong introduction. The first thing someone's going to do after they scan it is they're going to read the intro. You want to pique their interest, make arguments, and then this is kind of the sweet spot for getting long-term subscribers. Your articles want to be long form, 2,000 to 5,000 words. And then how to write prolifically. Obviously, you need to become an expert at what you're doing. Read, listen to lots of stuff, write in your journal 15 minutes a day. This is going to help you become a better writer, become a better thinker. It's going to help you organize your thoughts. Write first thing in the morning. Just thought dump your ideas. That's like when your brain is most creative. That's like when your subconscious is most primed to do it. Write while you're in a peak state. Do it right after a workout. Do it right after this meeting. Write down just any ideas. Start with a headline. Start refining that headline. And then think about the article in forms of lists. What are you trying to talk about? Just structure like the top 5, 10 things you want to say. And then write it in a very sophisticated way. You're all very much professional in here. You all know what you're talking about, but you need to talk about it in a human way, not like academics. So let's keep this very simple. Write it, optimize it, monetize it, grow 20 per month. Thank you all very much.
For the person asking, I think it was Eric who said, how do we convert people to email lists, right? Let's talk about how do we structure video and what matters, and in going through this process, hopefully it's valuable for everybody in making your content work. So I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen, and we'll pop this up here. So we talked about, let me just close this, audience retention curve. So if we look at Joe's channel as an example, some of the things that really matter is we need to have a good click-through rate on our thumbnails and titles, and we need to have good audience retention. So the first minute, for most of you, the first minute is the thing that will matter the most. If you're teaching, if you're even halfway good at teaching what you're an expert at, then you will be able to hold people's attention, but that first minute really matters. The next part is, do you have a thumbnail and title that will capture people's attention and make them want to click? And this is part of the secret tech that I'm working on. And maybe I'll just share one quick example with Joe, because we're gonna dive in and do some fun stuff when I get to Arizona. But in looking at Joe's channel, this is where I love making data-driven decisions. We've got this, so ILM meetup with Patty Ann Tublin, and then this one here of Dan Sullivan of Changing Your Game. Just quickly sharing a little bit of statistics. This video is converting 5 times better than this video on the click-through rate. They're getting, actually, this one is even getting more impressions. So YouTube's trying to promote this video. It's trying to promote this video and get it out to the world. This video has less impressions, but 5 times as many views. And that's a function of the title and the thumbnail. So if I look at this thumbnail, like, do this every 90 days, assuming I don't know who Joe is, like, this is, we're targeting people who don't know who we are, right? We're not just targeting the people who already know us and love us. It's brand new people. So this thumbnail here, do this every 90 days, like, ooh, wow, what is that thing that I need to do every 90 days? Versus ILM meetup with Dr. Patty Ann Tublin. Now, you might love this. This is where, like, hey, well, let's give it a shot. But this one is getting 5 times as many clicks as this one. So what we would do then is say, okay, well, we have to tweak this title and thumbnail to get more people clicking on our videos. And Joe, I'll share a lot more when we get there in Arizona, but the idea is, if you're seeing videos that are underperforming, then an easy fix is to start looking at how do we tweak our thumbnails and titles to make them better.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this video, and I want to let you know that I have a new book that's come out, and if you'd like to get it absolutely free, there's a link below in the description, or you can wait till the end of this video, or you can simply go to joesfreebook.com and you can get a copy there.
Now, to the topic of how do we get people onto an email list? I'm a huge fan, because you guys here are mostly probably not trying to be influencers. You got businesses to run. The whole point of doing this is to, yes, have an impact, but we're trying to convert people who watch your videos to then buy from us, refer us, get on our email list, etc. So my favorite way to do it is to have a lead magnet in the middle of your videos. So Joe's got his free book. I think it's Joe's free book. And if we load up a video, let's see, let's pick a random one and see what happens. In here should be somewhere. This is a really old. Oh no, it's not that really old.
Yeah, that one's might be. Yeah, that one's pretty old.
Okay, so here, so the first minute really matters. So look at what Joe's doing here. It's like coming ups, right? It's like a preview of what's coming up in this video. Then they're talking, great. But then here, we look. I'm hearing an echo. There we go. Oh no. Dan Murdoch is giving me an echo. There we go. Thank you, Dan. Here at the 19-minute mark. So there's Jason. And then Joe's going to interrupt his own video, and talk about his free book. It's like, hey, if you like all this marketing knowledge, check out Joe's free book, joesfreebook.com. There it is. People can go and find it. And so then if you look in the description, joesfreebook.com. So what we want to do is, in the middle of our video, have some kind of call to action to get people onto our email list. And the easiest way is to give some kind of free bonus. It could be a video, it could be a free book, it could be a PDF. This doesn't have to be some crazy 400-page book, right? It could be a little tiny book, just something that's incredible value that relates to the topic. And then ideally at the end, and let's see if they've done it on this one. At the end of the video, we want to be linking people up to the next video. So beginning of the video should be something that's going to hook the person to watch. Middle of the video should be some kind of lead magnet to get their email address. And end of the video should be to get people to watch another video. YouTube's goal is to keep people on YouTube for as long as possible. So if you can get people to keep watching more videos, YouTube will reward you and showcase your videos more. So if I'm watching Joe, Ben, and Jason, Vern hopefully is the most relevant video to what these guys just talked about here, to get people to go watch that video. Most people, when they're doing this structure, they do the complete opposite. So the beginning of the video should be powerful statement, something to hook me in. How do most people start a video? Hey guys, welcome back. It's me, Evan Carmichael. So excited to have you here. Happy Wednesday. Man, today, like, who cares? I'm out, right? If I don't know who you are, like my mom would love that. But if somebody here is watching and you don't know who I am, you're not going to sit through that, right? Hi there, welcome back. Welcome back. It's my first time here. I don't know who you are. What am I being welcomed back to, right? So most people's intros are really poor. What you need to think about is, if you are transferring your thoughts to somebody else, what do you believe that other people don't believe? Like, teach me something, an opinion that you've got that you believe that other people don't believe, and lead with that. So it's like, what did he just say? Like, imagine a landing page. If you guys have built landing pages for your businesses, you have a headline and a subheadline. Would you ever have the headline be, hey guys, welcome back. It's me, Evan. So glad that you're here. No, you're gonna have a powerful opinion. You're gonna have something that's gonna want to hook me in to watch the rest or read the rest of the page. Same thing. If you can hook them for the first minute, they'll watch the rest. Most people then at the end of a video, what do? Thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate you. Go like and subscribe and leave a comment. I have never asked anybody to subscribe to my channel. Never. And we've got 3 million something subscribers on the channel. Why do you subscribe to somebody's channel? It's not because the person told you to. It's because you really like this person and you're watching more of their videos. So your goal is to get people to watch more videos and to like you and see you as the trusted authority. When you're using language at the end of a video that feels like the video is over, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you soon or see you later. People will leave and bounce and go to another video. This is a really important concept. While it might be the end of you filming that video, it's the end of the video for you. Hopefully, it's just the start of a journey for the audience. So for the viewer, hopefully it's the start of 8 videos that they're about to watch with you. So as soon as you start saying, thank you so much for watching, goodbye, appreciate you, you'll see your audience retention curve just tank. People are leaving, goodbye, like I'm out, I'm off to the next thing. Instead, like Joe's done here, if we have a video up on the channel that we want people to go see, and then if Joe said, go watch this video, not I'll see you later, but I'll see you there, and we're trying to get people to go watch the next video, if they click on this, YouTube's going to start rewarding us more. Say, oh, when they watch one Joe video, they watch 3, they watch 5, they watch 8. We should show more Joe Polish videos to people. So the call to action to get on your email list is in the middle. First minute, powerful opinion, hook me in. And ending is going to be, go get them to go watch another video on the channel. So this is Joe's team. You know, Joe recorded this once and probably hasn't checked it since, but Joe's team is doing a great job.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, like, my team is putting together stuff that, you know, we're repurposing things and we're taking previous content and
Yeah, so he made this one video at the end that links up, and then he made this little pitch in the middle that his team injects into all the videos. If you put this at the end, people will bounce. If you put it at the beginning, people will also bounce. But if you put it in the middle, people are already getting value from the video and they want to keep getting value from the video. So they'll stick around and watch, and people won't bounce and leave the video unless they're going to go sign up for your email list, which is much more valuable than just a view on the YouTube channel.
So email. When I first met you in 2007, you were such a huge fan of not sending out emails to all these ones you were collecting. So you've been rethinking email, and it's important. So what have you discovered? Since we focus here at Genius Network on ideas worth $250,000, what have you discovered that could be worth $250,000 or more to everyone here as it relates to the use of or non-use of email?
Sure. I think that's pretty easy to answer. I mean, given how well a lot of people here are doing, you can just look at the opportunity cost of spending every excess hour you spend on trivial email or just poor email management is extremely costly. A few things. So these are very simple tactical recommendations, but a few assumptions or observations. And the first is that the average inbox number of messages that you have is growing year on year 15 to 18%. Okay. So where does that lead you, right? Personally, do your systems scale if your inbox is growing 15 to 18% minimum per year? Where are you in 5 years, okay? So take a look at your systems. The second, very closely related to that, is the observation that and this is actually from a friend of mine named Robert Scoble, for every email that he sends out, and they call him the human aggregator, he does a lot of number crunching. For every email he sends out, he gets 1.75 in return. Okay, so what are the implications? What that means is you don't need better ways of answering email. You need to answer fewer email, number one. And that's more of a philosophical shift. I'd recommend reading Stoicism, Letters from a Stoic. Become okay with not responding to people. And and there are ways to sort of mitigate the risks associated with that. Or you can limit the size of emails. So the first thing that a lot of people notice
Is that why your family hates you, though?
No, my family loves me.
No.
I've spent a lot of time with my family. I just spent 3 months with my parents. There are a couple things. Look up 4 sentences or 5 sentences footer. Just Google that, and you'll find a footer that basically says this email is 5 sentences or fewer. Click here to find out why. And it gives you an excuse to send short emails, and it also encourages people to click through and read it themselves so that you don't feel obligated to send the Great American Novel in response to someone who just sent you the Great American Novel. Right? Common problem. Number 1. Number 2 is become familiar with tools like Boomerang. Pay for the pro version. Boomerang is an extension you can use in Gmail and elsewhere. It allows you to do a number of things that are very important. The first is it allows you to schedule emails to be sent in the future. Okay? I'm sure everyone here has had the experience. You're like, okay, I'm getting anxiety. I need to clear out my inbox. And so you try to clear out the top 10, and you just get like instant message responses, and you're like, the count's not going down. The count's not going down. This is very stressful. So if you know someone's like constantly on email, just waiting like a hawk to like pounce and respond with some nonsense, schedule it to be sent like a week out. And I have one friend actually, I'll talk about this more some other time. He has 75,000 plus unread email. He's a very popular guy. But what he'll do is if it's someone he doesn't really want to respond to email, or whose email he doesn't want to respond to, the first time he responds, it'll be like 2 days. The next time he responds, he'll schedule it for like 5 days. The next time he responds, he'll schedule it for like 10 days. And eventually they're just like, fuck it. And they stop emailing. Boomerang also allows you to schedule automatic follow-ups. And there are a number of tools that do this. NudgeMail is another. Followup.cc, I think, is another. Boomerang I prefer because it will take that thread and you can say, ping me in, and it'll have 2 days, 1 day, tomorrow morning, in 1 week, and then you can check another box that's if, like no response, if unopened, or regardless. This means all of the open loops that you might be keeping in your head or in your calendar, follow up with so-and-so, all of those go away. It is a game changer. In combination with that, I highly recommend that people always process email offline. Okay, so what does this mean? This means that if you're using Gmail, you could use Gmail offline, certainly, or you could use something like Thunderbird or some other email client like Outlook. Process your email offline and then batch send. And this prevents that back and forth IMing, especially if there's a preview pane of some type. So Gmail is actually very poorly designed for this. So using Gmail offline or an offline client allows you to have that sort of left-hand sidebar inbox view with a preview, and that will save you, in and of itself, if you're processing 100 email, that alone will save you 10 to 20 hours. And if you assume that's on a weekly basis and you multiply that out over 52 weeks, I'd say almost everybody here will derive that kind of value from those tips. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Brian Kurtz, I've known for almost 20 years, and you have done all kinds of things, including running, the awesome company Boardroom Inc., which was founded by the late Marty Edelston, who was a direct marketing, direct mail genius.
Totally.
As are you. And of course, I started in direct marketing and direct mail. First learned about it in 1992. Before the internet existed as a sales platform, I used direct mail
Right.
and advertising and many forms of offline marketing to build and grow my business. First as a dead broke carpet cleaner who used marketing to transform my small company, and then I fell in love with marketing. And then I started teaching it to other carpet cleaners, and
Well, I used to come out here for the boot camps, which was just incredible. I mean, you were teaching them gold. I mean,
Right.
these are carpet cleaners from all over the country, and you're teaching them basic direct response techniques, being able to market at a level that world-class marketers were doing in all other industries. And the carpet cleaners were lucky because they got you. And I used to be amazed being there.
yeah, and I mean, when you came out to talk to the cleaners, you were pretty awesome. You always been great.
I love talking to them because they were just so hungry for this information.
Yeah.
And I just remember the first time I came out, you gave them a book. It was like this thick, and it was basically a how to be not how to be a carpet cleaner, how to be a direct response maven.
Right.
And it was the sample ads, and you were basically teaching them basic direct marketing and basic direct response, and a lot of it was direct mail. I mean, back
Yeah.
then, right?
No, and it still is. And what I've always said to people too is because anyone that's not in that industry, because now in Genius Network, I mean, you're part of the group. We have people. We have a billionaire in the group. We have people running $100 million to $500 million companies. We've got about 15 people in the group that do that. And so what I've always told people is that if I can figure out how to successfully sell carpet cleaning services using direct mail and direct marketing, and you've got anything even remotely more exciting, anyone could use it. Because
Right.
what first comes up is a negative for some people, saying, "Oh, that won't apply to me because I'm not in that business." Soon realizes if you frame it properly that this applies to.
Well, we
to any
talk
other
all the
business.
time about, when I spend a lot of time now at conferences of quote unquote internet marketers.
Yeah.
And it just blows me away that anybody would want to define themselves by a channel.
Right.
We used to look at ourselves as direct marketers. Direct mail was a channel, space was a channel. When email came out, that was a channel.
Mm-hmm.
Direct response television, all of those are channels. And to not use everything at your disposal, you're not really doing justice to being the kind of world-class marketers that you and I are, and the people that we like to hang around with.
Well, let's talk about for people that don't know who you are, because you've never positioned yourself as a guru. You don't go out there and you always downplay the knowledge that you have. But you've mailed how many letters do you think you've
I
you've
tried to
overseen?
estimate recently, and I put it into some bio stuff now because it took me a long time to count it all,
Right.
because it was 1.3 billion pieces of direct mail, and it was only over the last 20 years. And
Only over the last
20 years. So I don't know what the total number would be. And of course, I didn't, lick every stamp, and I didn't, put every piece in the mail. But I was overseeing that kind of volume over a long period of time with an incredible staff of people who really understood the intricacies of how to do direct mail. And it's not just direct; it's database marketing. It's the thing that's been so fascinating to me in the internet world is that we have a database of 9 million people on our database of people who bought something from us over the last 20, 25 years. And I tell people if they have a 9,000 name list or a 900 name list, to not look at that audience and think about what's on that list and what they bought, how they bought, how much they bought, and all the basics of direct marketing, which is what we call RFM, recency,
Right.
frequency, monetary, which we can talk about if you
Yeah,
want.
we're going to. I'm going
but
to
I
make
mean-
a little note of that.
Yeah. So, but I think that all of those things still apply. Even it's not just because we had a big database. So yeah, I can brag, as you say. It's not bragging if you've done it. But
Right.
but I think John Wayne said that, or somebody. I thought Joe Polish said that.
Yeah, well, you can credit me and make me look better, but no, I definitely was not the first to say that.
Yeah, but it's a good. And the thing is, it's not bragging to say you mail 1.3 billion pieces of mail. But what's really exciting is that we actually were targeting customers in a way that enabled us to mail that many names at an acceptable profit and loss,
Right.
because of the way we selected our list, the way we did our creative, the way that we looked at the whole process, which, you can be a lot sloppier today, right? I mean, the quote that I like today is 75-cent marketing deserves $500 per thousand thinking. So 75 cents, we'll say it's the average cost for an email, and
For an email or
I guess to send emails, but I don't know, 50 to 75 cents a thousand. So I don't know. I use 75 cents. Maybe I'm overpaying. I better go check my vendors.
You could be.
It could be, yeah. But $500 a thousand is a rate that you would pay with postage and printing, and we do magalogs and all kinds of different formats in direct mail. And if you're spending $500 per thousand to do your marketing, you better be thinking carefully about before you put anything in the mail.
Right.
And I think that there's just a lot of haphazard marketing going on because email is cheap and anybody can get into business. The internet, the beauty of the internet is that the cost of entry is low. The bad news about the internet is the cost of entry is low.
So people can be very sloppy. They don't think through everything, and
Exactly.
they think because it's free, it's really free. When in reality, what you're saying, if you put some serious thinking into the offer, that's everything.
Everything.
Then the returns could be 10 times greater.
Well, Gordon Grossman was one of my gurus. He built Reader's Digest, and he used to always say that in direct mail, that when you mailed a certain segment of your list, that if it was a bad offer and the wrong select, those names, not to say that they're not going to respond next time to something else, but you've kind of made them, the possibility would be that they might not respond as well next time to the next offer. And I don't think, the online marketers think that way about the attrition of their lists. And I came out of the list business too. That's really where I started. So going back to my history, it was more about the audience and the list. And I just love the idea that you have this list of there are no unique names, only unique lists, right? And so the assembly of that list, and online marketers have figured this out, on steroids, right? I mean, knowing that they've developed this tribe and they can give them so much good content before they really sell them something. Those are the guys that are doing it right. The ones that are just bashing their list all the time, they're not using that $500 per thousand thinking. And not only that, they have no interest in doing direct mail either, which is kind of like what you and I want to be out there talking about and saying, you know what, you could use direct mail even though you've never used it before.
Well, my hope would be that anyone watching this, listening to this, would become interested, intrigued enough to realize there is a ton of gold within their existing database, within their sphere of influence, within their affiliates, if they're an affiliate. There's a tremendous amount of untapped gold that most people aren't even aware that they could mine for it because they don't even know this mining methodology. It's like handing someone a shovel that can, or a pick that can dig up
Right.
gold, but they don't
That's a good
even use
analogy.
it.
Right.
And so why direct mail? Why now? And, and of course this could open up a whole, stream of different paths we can go down. A lot of people don't use it because they don't understand it. They don't know where to start. And me and you are going to have lots of conversations. So this is not going to be the only video that we record, but I wanted to just sit down and see if we can start getting people intrigued and interested so that the action that they want to take is like going, I got to figure out how to do this. That makes a lot of sense to me. I see why I should go down this path.
Everybody going, it's like, everybody's going right, maybe go left and see what's there. There's a lot of opportunity. I mean, I'll use it, it's a very, very trite example, but so I was looking at the database of an online marketer recently, not a big list, maybe she had, I don't know, 10,000 people on her list. And she was like showing me a list of all the different people of what they bought. So, I have this many people who bought 2 products, this many people who bought 3 products, all the way down. She had one person who bought 17 products. So I made sort of a joke, but it wasn't really a joke. I said, how many times have you had that person to dinner? The one person who bought 17 products. And she looked at me like, what are you talking about? And I said, well, I'm actually teaching you database marketing, because what I'm saying is that, if you knew that all the different aspects of those those people at the top of your list. Now you're like your list of 25K members, you treat them like gold because they're all VIPs. But the average marketer doesn't think about their database that way.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be that big or small database. So I just love that concept of, making sure that you're not sending the same message to everybody.
Right.
And it might be that person who bought 17 products from you, I'm not saying you have to invite them to dinner, but you could. But then you'd send them the 3-dimensional packages that we talk about, which is direct mail, right? It's not just...
Well, yeah, because you were saying before we started recording, you can't send a 3-dimensional email.
No.
Explain what you mean by 3-dimensional. I mean, I get it because direct mail, a lumpy mail.
A lumpy mail, yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, it's funny. Marty Edelston, who just passed away, I when I was doing his eulogy, he just died recently. And at his eulogy, I was saying, Marty, not that he didn't get the internet, but he understood that if there was someone he really wanted to have that personal connection with, he knew that a note in his handwriting with things that were of interest to that person, it's a lot different. I mean, yes, we love to attach funny videos in email, and we're going to continue to do that, and it's great. And for certain people in our lives, that's great. But when you start looking at people working at a very high level with high-ticket products, the ability to connect with people without meeting them individually, I think direct mail gives you an opportunity to get inside their heads in a way, get inside their dreams, aspirations, things that you have in common with them. And it's, I tell college students when they go on interviews, I had a whole group of college students. I said, if you go to an interview and after the interview, you, instead of sending an email, you actually write out a letter. And I said, you use paper, and I took a piece of paper. This is called paper, and this is called a pen. And if you send a letter, and then maybe if you attach an article that you might have been discussing during the interview of something that you were talking, I was making up what it could be.
Right.
It could be anything. That I will tell you, and then I whispered into the microphone, you'll be the only one doing this.
Right.
So the differentiation for someone getting a job in a market where you can't get a job, that's direct mail.
Right.
So then why not take that to the next level, even if you're doing more mass marketing? So it's I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like a philosophy.
It makes total sense because it is something that no one else will be doing. And let's just take young people right now. Okay, now if this video is watched 50 years from today, totally different story. But right now, anyone over the age of 35, 40, 45, 50 that you may be wanting to work for or partner with or do. I mean, they're used to they live in a world where, like I'm one of this is like the last generation. Here's what I say to people that, you say you're my age. I mean, right now I'm 45 years old. I'll be 46 in a few months. And, I remember when there was no fax machines, and fax machines came onto the scene. I remember, dial-in televisions, black and white televisions as a little kid, and the invent of cable television, and going to remote controls and going to cordless phones when there was rotary phones and it was touch phones and then it became cordless phones.
Right.
That was like a new thing. And then when cell phones were like a brick, and then pagers, and then we got to smaller cell phones, and then now smartphones and everything else. I mean, there's never going to be another generation which didn't transition to that. Now, any kid born today, they would have no clue.
Well, I told you the story before about how apparently all 3-year-olds are walking around their houses all day going like this because they're playing on their iPad all day.
Yeah.
So they think the wall is an iPad screen, and they think their mother's face is an iPad screen. They go to the refrigerator. They think they're going to get food by wiping the screen. So I'm not worried about them right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how I'm going to market to them, and I'll be dead. So I'm not going to worry as much. But right now, as you said, everybody has at least had some exposure to a mailbox, and it becomes that we're talking multi-channel. I'm not saying that we should be talking about direct mail as the be-all end-all,
Right.
that it's going to replace all other media, but it's this forgotten medium that no one understands it as well as they should. And you've always been such a big fan of it. Mm-hmm. I've lived it for my whole career, and so we've been talking about this for a long time.
Well,
saying
I'm a fan of it because it still works.
It still works very well, actually.
I mail letters. People buy stuff. They join stuff. It moves them along the line. It is an addition to what in your current tools in your toolbox. If you added this to if you're already a successful internet marketer, and we've seen it. in
We have
our
seen it.
world. I mean, you're teaching people how to do it. I teach people how to do it. When they, when we take all of our 25K members, I sit and say, if you're already a successful business owner and the majority of the business that you're acquiring is online, one of the best ways that and there could be people far smarter than me in different channels and different areas I don't know that could come along. The smartest thing that I think someone could do to double, triple their revenues, their profits, is simply add direct mail into the mix.
I mean, you've been doing some stuff with space also, space advertising, and
Right.
how that can. But direct mail, and as you said before, it still works. I mean, we're seeing response rates. I mean, the problem, you're dealing with the Postal Service, which is tough, and you know that I lobby on Capitol Hill because
Right.
I don't want it to go away. I still believe in it, and I feel like I don't want to have regrets later on that I didn't educate senators and congressmen that they're making some mistakes about how the Postal Service is going to price themselves out
Right.
of this incredible business. But we're seeing, we've been in business for 40 years. I've been there for 32 of it. And our response rates for some of our offers today, 2013, are as high as they've been in the last 20 or 30 years. For certain products.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not, sometimes they're not. Sometimes it depends on the product. Because we're still doing the same kind of great creative, we're still doing the same kind of database marketing. The biggest difference is we don't have the list universes that we used to have.
Yeah.
So but I'm in $39 product too. I'm selling mass market books and newsletters. What you and I are talking about is kind of taking those same principles and start applying them to some of these real high-end businesses as another channel.
Right.
And now I'm pretty excited about that because, as you said, I can get someone's attention in a whole different way than I can from an email or from from TV. I mean, there's so many different ways to go after your prospects. And I think where direct mail is going to be most useful for as we move forward in the kinds of stuff that you and I want to probably do together in the marketing world and teach is that it's going to be with the high-end marketers that we are hanging around with that are selling high-priced product. They want to have a real touchy-feely relationship with their audience, and doesn't matter that your list isn't that big. The size of the list mattered. At $29, $39 product, you just can't get the critical mass, and it's very frustrating.
Well, one of the things that I do as a test, like I'll go to conferences and I'll speak, and I'll get a bunch of people give me business cards, and I will shoot a video and we'll upload it to YouTube and put a link and send an email out, personalized video, and then I'll send personalized cards and things. Always get a response
Right.
from the letters, far more in a personalized video is pretty touchy-feely. It's not just a text. I mean, it's me talking to people,
Right.
and all the time I continually validate to myself that when you send something physical to somebody, it's when you're looking. What's that saying about that you always talk about with the inbox, the least cluttered inbox?
Oh yeah, the least cluttered inbox is the one that you grew up with. So yeah, it's the mailbox.
What does that mean?
Well, it means is that
I know what it means.
well, I looked at your computer when I came in today, and you couldn't even find your email, right? It was like, and so you look at someone's average inbox in their email, and even if they're great sorters of that, they can't figure out like what. The noise is ridiculous. It so happens that because the Postal Service has not run things as the way they should, and a lot of people got out of direct mail, lo and behold, you got an emptier mailbox.
Right.
And then you got more attention. And then if you still are a slave to world-class creative as we are, we were sticking out in the crowded mailbox.
Yeah.
Now we're sticking out in a less crowded mailbox.
Right.
So you can see the potential there.
And if it's less crowded, the likelihood of getting noticed and getting through and getting attention, you have an advantage on your side. And so that is the number one reason why I think people should be looking at this, because
It's not going away. The post office. The reason why the post office is a monopoly is that nobody else can get access to those post boxes, and people are not chopping down. They might be chopping down trees in their backyard. They're not chopping down their mailbox.
Yeah.
They're still waiting for something in that mailbox. I don't know what. I mean, look at your Genius Network interviews. I don't know if I'm an exception or the rule, but you sometimes send links with a hot interview that you just did with somebody. It won't be this one, I'm sure. But you do the hottest. You actually have done ones that we've done,
Right.
and which I love. So, but then you send an envelope with a CD and a transcript of the interview.
Right.
I think you're still doing that.
Yeah.
And so, I wait for that. I wait for
I
that.
have people that still to this day, since I first started which used to be called the Joe Polish Superstar Audio Tape of the Month Club, which I started, I believe, in 1995.
Wow.
That still to this day, and we're doing this at the end of 2013, this particular recording, that pay money every month since that period of time because they want to get something physical in the mail.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of great online marketers who, when they send me something three-dimensional in the mail, I don't want to mention other names, but the same thing. People who pay $50,000 to be in high-end mastermind groups, when they get the physical package of the interview of the month or whatever the transcript and the interview, it makes a big difference. So you start seeing, I mean, maybe yes, that situation, they're not selling that piece of physical product because they bought the bigger product, but just the level of interest in that physical product and what keeps them connected to that guru. And I know that there are people that stay connected to you from the physical product.
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like if you're going to bring your wife, your girlfriend, your husband, your spouse, flowers, it's just going to be a different sort of feeling than if you send an email saying I love you. It just can't be replicated. And I don't think it's a stretch to make the same comparison to anything physical. You can just do things in the mailbox that cause you to stand out and get attention that just aren't quite the same. So like what you were saying earlier, this is not in lieu of, this is not a replacement of, this is an enhancement
Absolutely.
to everything that you're doing. So Dean, you stumbled across this thing called the Magic 9-Word Email.
Right.
And we have this whole competition that we've laid out. We're going to pass this out to everyone in a little bit, but what I'd like you to do for everyone watching and for everyone here so they get what is the method to basically revive dead leads.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
start.
the thing. Here's the thing: has anybody been in business for more than 90 days? Just raise your hand right now. Okay, so you have leads that you've been generating. Have you had, who's had inquiries or web forms filled out or responses to your ads? Raise those hands high. Okay, now here's what happens is most of the time, entrepreneurs, online marketers are mostly focused on how do we convert those leads as quickly as possible, right? How do we put them through our gauntlet series and how do we get them to buy right now and get what's our earnings per click on the things, and we pummel people to buy right now, and then if they don't, we kind of relegate them to the affiliate list, or we'll just pummel them with other people's offers just in case, right? But we don't treat them like they're good leads. Well, the foundational thing that drives all of it that I found was a study that showed that what happens when people inquire about anything. So what they found was, this is a company that on an enterprise level handles inquiries across all kinds of different industries. If you go to a trade show and you fill in information, or you go to a corporate website and you ask for a catalog or whatever, this is a company that does that kind of fulfillment. And they handle millions of leads a year. And they do something that was brilliant. They follow up with people and do what they call "Did you buy?" surveys. So they'll take samplings from different times, 90 days, 6 months, 9 months, all the way through. And what they found was that in calling these people and asking just one question, they'd say, Joe, you came to the home show, you inquired about faucets. Have you bought any faucets? Not, would you like to buy some faucets? Not, did you buy our faucets? Did you buy faucets, the category of what it was you inquired about? So what they found was that just over half of the people that inquire about anything will buy what it is they've inquired about within 18 months. But only 15% of them will do it in the first 90 days. So 85% of the value of a bundle of 100 leads today is longer than 90 days away. Most people's long-term lead conversion process is 90 days. By 90 days, they've fully given up on them. So what we found was that if we realize now that for whatever reason people start shopping, researching, inquiring, investigating whatever it is they're going to buy months before they actually do it, what if we just went back to those people and instead of saying, did you buy, what if we sent an email to them and said, hey, are you still looking for a house in Georgetown? Or are you still planning a trip to Israel? Or are you still looking for stylish motorcycle jeans? Or like one guy, we had this, our favorite story ever of this. This guy's a yacht broker in Fort Lauderdale, was in a office like the Old Boys Network. Those guys have zero tolerance for tire kickers. They literally had a file in the office called Dead Leads, paper file printed out of all the web inquiries or whatever. And he started going through and just sending them a 9-word email that said, are you still looking for a yacht? And when he got a reply back from a guy who's under contract right now on a $130 million yacht that's going to be delivered next year, and in the meantime bought a $50 million yacht to tide him over until his $130 million yacht is delivered. All from sending a 9-word email to Dead Leads. The same thing I mentioned, the guy did luxury trips, or these are expensive trips, high-end trips to Israel, and he sent an email to people saying, are you still planning a trip to Israel? And re-engaged with all the people who had inquired last season. There's so many things that get in the way of somebody making a decision right now, but if you build this sequence into what you do, every 90 days, just inquiring with people, are you still looking for whatever it is that you do? It's like a magic trick. I've never had anybody who sends that to a group of people not be amazed by what happens. We had a job, like executive recruiter, who had been sending jobs to people, and crickets, nobody replying to their emails. And she sent an email that said, are you still available? That was the email, right? Not anything about this particular job, but are you still available? Knowing that it's coming from somebody who they've been communicating with about a job, it was like out of the woodwork. People come because it breaks that pattern of you just broadcasting information to people or sending group emails to people, and makes it feel like you're only talking to them. I call it the Starbucks test. It's like if you recognize, let's say that somebody came into your office, or they came into an open house, or they came in to see you for a consultation. It didn't work out at the time, but you recognize them, and then you're in Starbucks and you see them. What would you say? It would be that same thing if you say them. If they came to an open house and you're saying, oh, hi, are you still looking for a house in Paradise Valley? That's how you would say it if you saw them at Starbucks. And it's the same thing about why these work. Because most people are sending emails with that approach where they walk into Starbucks, hop up on the table, start banging the cup and say, attention everybody, is anybody in here still looking for a house in Paradise Valley? Because if any of you are, you start speaking to the crowd rather than speaking to one person.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this video, and I want to let you know that I have a new book that's come out, and if you'd like to get it absolutely free, there's a link below in the description, or you can wait till the end of this video, or you can simply go to joesfreebook.com and you can get a copy there.
That's what we really have with email, is this ability to engage one person at a time. It's a very intimate form of communication. If you treat it like a dialogue, where you're sending something, just imagine that scenario. You walk into Starbucks, you see somebody that you recognize, you look them right in the eye, and you say, hey, are you still planning a trip to Israel? And you're looking right at them, and you don't say anything else. How awkward would it be for them not to say something? Right? That's what it is. You've got to think about these emails like a dialogue. just a really slow conversation. And the great thing about it is that it's like you get to push the pause button on a conversation, because when you say something, there's a delay and they send something back and you get the wonderful opportunity to respond, not react. And that's the brilliance of, you can wordsmith and make sure that you're saying it the right way, saying the right thing to people. But being real makes a big difference. So that's, we've seen it happen again and again and again, and we decided we'd have a little contest to see
Let's pass this out.
what can happen if you just don't overthink it and send an email to your to the people who you've maybe been in contact with and it went quiet, that whole thing. You were sharing with me, can you share his result from, you told me last night that you sent a...
Can we get him a mic
Yeah.
too?
But while we're doing this, this literally is something you could do
Sasha.
while, you could do it right away. There's no delay in this. But Sasha, what happened? Because
And let's make a point. So
Yeah.
you heard about this in the morning, and you just did it, as did Jennifer Hootie. So everyone here, the point behind this contest, you've been given enough information just by hearing about it. And on the Facebook Live link, which this is on, this is going to be posted also. We want people to actually do it, but you just did it right away. So this is not...
Yeah, so I sent it out. I sent out an email last night before I went to bed, and woke up this morning with an $18,000 coaching client.
Nice.
And so all I
That
said
helps.
to him, it was great. So I basically sent a message to him, and in the subject line it said, "Are you still joining us?" And the reason for my email wasn't to get him to sign the contract, but to let him know that we have an upcoming event, and I
Yes.
didn't want him to miss it in April, and he signed up right away.
That's
Love
so
it.
great.
Love it.
There's the thing, whenever somebody's
Oh,
on
Jennifer
the fence...
Hootie's there. Jennifer,
Hootie.
come on up.
Okay.
Yeah, because we'll put you on Facebook Live here because I want to hear, since yesterday, where this all started.
Yes, I was moving. I'm all moved now.
Oh, great.
Oh, good. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I got 23 people so far and 4 sales of the workshop. A lot of conversation that what I did is I just went into the support email. And I've
So
been
they're
communicating-
3,000 each, right?
3,000
So you made
each.
$12,000 in sales, and yesterday it was like, my priority of being here at Genius Network is I just really got to focus on this thing.
Yeah. So that shit
Wahoo!
works. It works.
That's so
And
great.
I went in this morning, like as my movers were there, I just sat and went through my inbox and sent the 9-word email to everyone that's gone kind of quiet on specific things, especially with Cameron's here, with Vivid Visions. Cameron will make intros to Vivid Visions, and sometimes the people won't respond, and I'll follow up a couple times. So I just went to all of those, just being like, "Hey, are you still interested in creating your Vivid Vision?" So,
Nice.
yeah.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
that's so cool. We shared, that process that you used, just the fact that you took action on it. It's really, that's what happens. You just send it and it happens, Ilko.
So the first time I did a breakthrough movement with Dean, and so I sent out the email to my list, and I got like 2,000 responses. But I committed to answering all the emails because I want to learn, I want to implement, and then I got this email from a guy. It was a long email about whatever it was, and his name, he signed off with his name, Dave. And then he did a PS, and the PS was, "PS, sometimes I wonder if you still know who I am." And I was like, "Dave?" And when I was young, when I was 10 or 11 years old, I had a best friend, and his name was David. And, we were together all the time. And then one day to the next, he disappeared. Like, he literally disappeared. He moved because there was an issue with his father or whatever. And I never heard from him again. And I was always wondering what happened to David. And then I got this email, and then we reconnected. We had dinner, and he comes to my seminars and stuff. And all because of a 9-word email. So...
I guess it lives up to How to Revive Dead Leads, right?
That's so great.
And find your father and your mother. No, okay. All right. So we'll do a couple over here, and then we'll read the how the contest is gonna work.
Okay.
I have a question. One of the things we focused on to improve our email deliverability is if people don't open our emails at all for 90 days, we remove them off the list. We keep marketing them forever if they open the email, but if they don't open the email, I want to ask, because this is such a pattern interrupt, is it actually worth taking the risk of putting those people back on the list?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's, there's the thing is that just because they don't open your email doesn't mean they didn't see it. How many times do when you look at it right now, that email is delivered into the same stream, because let's face it, that's how we're reading emails now, is on our phones. So we're streaming through, and that email is in that same stream where their mother sends emails.
Unless
And
we're in promotions.
their mom gets 100% open rate, right? Well, what other thing that happens is if you can use a 9-word email the morning after somebody opts in, and you get somebody to reply to your email, guess where you get automatically whitelisted, because, this is somebody that they know. So imagine we send sometimes morning after emails, 9-word emails that get a 40% response rate. So, you're getting lots of opens, but getting, really great engagement. And that goes a long way.
Related to this subject, I feel like all the email servers are constantly getting better at blocking. Now like my Office 365 has a clutter and a spam, all that type of stuff. What techniques are you or anybody in the room finding to, or what company, I guess, to maximize the delivery?
Well, can I say something too, and then you respond to that? Brian Kurtz and I are going to do actually a conversation about post office, but if you can get their phone number to do 9-word emails via text, to get their physical mail to do 9-word emails physical, so it's not just 9-word email, it's 9-word mail, it's 9-word messaging, okay, or just, so that's one thing, getting other forms of ways to communicate with them, because this has been done with postcards, okay, this has been done with text, and so what we're actually doing right now with Randy and what we're going to build in with Scipio and stuff is ways to actually automate and create ELF marketing on every level that one can. I mean, you can do this on Facebook. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways. But
one other thing, I'm only going to say this worked for me. I used the version of a 9-word email, and I did something really interesting. Knowing the age of my audience, I used Courier font, which sounded really strange, old school typewriter. Response rate was 20% higher on the email back, and I'm not sure why. I talked to you about that as well, and I believe that there's something in there, like somebody actually typed it. It goes back to childhood or nostalgia. Have you ever tried that before?
I have. I mean, so we use
Courier. Because it's weird.
Those,
the response I got was amazing.
Yeah. I remember you saying that too. But the whole thing, anytime, like that's why I always send things that are not like HTML or beautiful looking or
it looks like it did it in a typewriter.
Fonts. That's exactly right. It looks like that's exactly right. Yeah.
So just want to throw that out there. Give it a shot.
Yeah. Now, and wait, to answer his question about email deliverability, is there anything else you wanted to say to that?
Oh, yeah. So the thing is, the functional deliverability, what really helps is if you can get engagement early, if you get a high level of people opening, the highest open rate is going to be on the first email that you send. If you can the next morning get another open and a reply, you're like establishing yourself as, oh no, these are real emails. Yeah, they really want to hear from this person.
Give him the mic, grab the mic back if you could.
Where I'm finding that is not necessarily the open rate. It's that the servers, like Microsoft and stuff, they change the rules. And so, say, you're sending out the 9-word email, but it's going out to 250 people.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden the person doesn't even know because it ends up in their clutter.
Yeah.
So what like we use Marketing Cloud off Salesforce. I'm wondering, does anyone in here use a vendor that is hip to the changing landscape of where your emails are going into, where they're ahead of some of that stuff? Or
and here's the thing too, and I'm almost reluctant to say, like, because I do know companies that will have much higher deliverability, but it's always changing. And so the moment we say this is the company, then all of a sudden, again, I will go back to what Dean says. The quicker you can get someone to engage with you earlier on, the more likely and you can get them on different lists. You can be communicating to them in different ways, because for the most part, if they're really engaged, even if they're even to get them to respond back, is going to. I mean, it's just a much different relationship than if they're on a list. That's why I've always. I worked a lot with Dan Kennedy for the first 9 years of my business, I had Dan write a lot of my sales copy. And Dan, of course, is brilliant. He uses terminology like the herd. And it's like, it's like cattle. People you have a relationship with are not part of a herd. They're people you have a relationship with. So it depends to what, just how well you curate those relationships.
So what Dean's saying here is just, it's like it's game-changing stuff when you start thinking about, the one-size-fits-all. Your analogy of the guy in Starbucks is perfect. This has been going, even in direct mail, which we'll talk about later, we were trying to do this. It was so freaking expensive. That's why email is the killer app, because it is a lot cheaper, but it's not cheaper for the sake of being cheaper.
Right.
And it's not just that you can make 100 versus $1, but every Gordon Grossman taught me this. He was the architect of the Reader's Digest. He said, anytime you send a message to somebody that doesn't get opened, doesn't get responded to, whatever, you are decreasing response for the future if you have alienated them in some way. So the alternative to that is make sure you're talking to people the right way. There's a direct marketing rule of thumb that goes back forever, that your best list, like in subscription marketing, is your expire list. The people that used to subscribe to your news, we had a list of like millions of people who subscribed to Bottom Line Personal. We had millions of people who stopped subscribing to Bottom Line Personal. We did one test, talk about this is our 9-word direct mail. But we basically had a campaign, and all we did on the outer envelope, we didn't send them a whole direct mail piece. That was 24 pages long. We just sent them a very simple letter, very simple envelope. We had 4 words on the outer envelope. We want you back. 30% lift. In direct mail, we're talking, from a 1% response. These are big numbers.
Yeah,
so that was like, Dean's thing is exponentially better because it's email, it's cheaper, it's just so important to one size fits all creative. How could you do that now with email, with what we have available to? I know I sound like the wondrous young man.
We want you back is the first thing is, well, I must have been with them
I know
before.
you already.
We say that, Well, we say to somebody, are you still interested?
Exactly.
Are you still looking? It implies that I know that you were looking for faucets.
And the irony was that instead of spending in direct mail, we were spending like $400 1,000 for like a Magalog. That piece cost us like $50 1,000. So a cheaper mailing, 30% lift, that worked. That scales.
That's awesome.
That scales.
Awesome. Alex, and then give this back to Jennifer, then we're going to do the contest and then wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah, so something I wanted to add real quick. There are some tools that log into a Gmail account or your corporate Gmail account. And as long as you're careful with the limits, so you're not sending more than so many emails per day, obviously you can create multiple Gmail accounts. One of the tools, QuickMail, right? That's what we use, QuickMail. So it logs into your Gmail account, and you take a list of leads, and instead of using your email marketing solution like HubSpot, you basically send out those emails through a personal email, Gmail.
Okay, awesome.
2 other things on that. What we found to work well is when someone opts into your list, a lot of times people actually put the lead magnet or whatever it is on the thank you page, but then that basically tells them to stop and they've gotten what they wanted. So instead, we'll always put the lead magnet in the very first email. So it's, say if they're asking for a cheat sheet, we don't put the cheat sheet on the thank you page. The cheat sheet comes in the first email because that's what they wanted. And then in that first email, something we found to work really well is asking them the question. So we'll say, P.S., out of curiosity, what's your number one problem when it comes to blank, when it comes to email marketing, when it comes to copywriting, when it comes to weight loss? That's actually what I did like years ago when I was in the fitness space, which got me into email marketing and copy, was from cold Facebook traffic. I would ask the question in that very first email, and I would get like paragraph responses from people saying, oh my gosh, my number one problem is this. and then I would respond to them and say like, oh, well, why don't you check out this article? This will be really helpful for you. And I wouldn't try sell them right away, but I'd respond and just start helping them with whatever they said.
That's what Ryan Levesque does with his buckets, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Message to respond.
Let's do this because we have to do the contest for timing, and then and then you can spend it. And then Dean will make himself available for personal one-on-one calls for the next month for everybody at Genius Network. So, if you in front of you is this will also be on the Facebook page. It says, "Here's the Genius Network 9-word email competition." So what it is, we're going to have a fun competition, easy, lucrative, and fun, for Genius Network members to see how much business you can generate specifically from reviving dead leads, okay? Now, you can use this on any leads, but let's just look at it this way. By sending a 9-word email. To have a chance of winning, you simply share your experience, including your financial results, in a short video submitted to Genius Network. Completion ends May 1st, okay, of this year. Why? We're doing this to give you yet another reason to revive your dead leads by implementing the powerful marketing strategy of the 9-word email. 4 steps to compete in the contest. Step 1, send a 9-word email to your list of dead leads to promote your product or service. Send a copy of the email to contest@geniusnetwork.com. Contest@geniusnetwork.com. And you'll officially be entered into the competition. Step 2, crush it for 45 days. Get all the results you can. You have until May 1st, 2018 to generate business directly attributed to the 9-word email. The contest period ends on that date. Step 3, you're going to record a video explaining what you did and the results you obtained directly and indirectly from sending the 9-word email associated with this competition to your leads. Now, the video is going to be 3 minutes, which is, it says in step 4, submit the video no longer than 3 minutes by May 10th. Okay, so circle that date. It's
my birthday.
May 10th. Yep, Dean's birthday.
Perfect.
To contest@geniusnetwork.com. And then, because we want you to spend your entire birthday watching videos, basically. All right.
I go to the movies. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
That's what we should do, rent the big screen and play them up on there.
How your entry will be judged. So here's how we're going to judge it. There will be a panel of 4 judges who will watch and judge each video. 50% of the judging will be on the results you achieved, and 50% of the judging will be based on how well you tell the story of what you did and how you benefited, very much in your ability to articulate it. The contestant who gets the highest cumulative judge's score on their video will be the winner. The prize is going to be, the winner of the contest will get an additional seat in the Genius Network annual event, which will take place November 2nd and 3rd and 4th, 2018, which will be here in Phoenix, Arizona. And that he or she may provide to a friend, family member, or business associate. Now, so what this means is someone that, before we wouldn't let people bring a guest unless the guest was like a spouse or a business partner, associate. But in this particular case, if you win, you can bring whoever you want, all right? So that prize is valued at $10,000. The rules, the winner must be a current Genius Network member, including at the time of the 2018 event, in order to claim the prize. Each contest entry, including the video, becomes the property of Genius Network, because if you're going to submit these things, we're going to need to be able to share them, and may be shown at Genius Network, GeniusX, or anywhere else, online or offline. But if you actually win this thing, you're going to have a whole bunch of other people hear about what it is that you're selling too. So, and anyone that does that, depending on how it is, will probably share these videos, which will be cool. So it becomes exposure for what it is that you're doing. And it becomes a whole crowdsource way of strategizing this in a big giant way. So,
such a great idea.
So what do you have to say about why should someone do this contest, other than the fact that they're going to make a bunch of money?
I was just going to say, what other reason do they need? If that's not enough, I don't know what else can help them.
Spiritual, yeah. So how many of you, by show of hands, are in for sending a 9-word email? Raise your hands. Okay, awesome. So do it. Is there any final questions that you may have that you need to know something so you feel that you are ready to actually do this? Okay, I hope you found that video awesome and useful. So if you want to get a free copy of my book, I want you to click here. And if you want to watch some more videos that will be useful and awesome, click here. Go ahead. You're over here. Do it now. Come on. Thank you. Watch them.